Let's pull the tarot card for the day. The tarot card for the day is Five of Diamonds. Okay, yeah. Five of Diamonds is a card of reconciliation. I think this is the card for dealing with, if you're going through any financial misfortune here, don't let it ruin your love life. I mean, like, just because you're upset about something doesn't mean that it's necessarily wrong. But I just don't think you should let it bleed into your other insecurities. I think Five of Diamonds is a card that's like, with everything going on, with Mercury being in heated Leo on Regulus, and then we have the Sun in Cancer wrapping up in the next 2 weeks. I think it's important to remember that here, I think with the moon just wrapping up in Taurus, it is important to kind of be like, oh, wait, I don't think I'm going in the right direction. Jupiter here on the North Node, just really, really, really be careful with trying to expand too much into luxury and not taking into account all the expenses. Pluto's still in Capricorn, 29-degree. Yeah, just be careful here of trying too hard to appease to something that doesn't make sense. I don't care who it is, where they are, and what they do. If it doesn't make sense right now, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I just would not go to that person. Yes, there are going to be some things that have been built up, and that's when I think you have to realize, because of this energy, it is going to be understanding the layers of what truly needs to go. Because I do think with the moon being in its waxing phase, it is important to remember, like, that is a reduction. And with Regulus being on Mercury, you're going to just feel like, I don't feel like this is a good situation for me. Yes. So, okay, let's clarify. The moon to the full moon to the new moon is waning. The new moon to the full moon is waxing. So the moon is waning into a new moon. And the new moon is here in Cancer on the 17th. And that's to put in serious intentions. And by that time, you should be serious, right? I think a little bit of independence is definitely encouraged here with Hygeia. And I think it is saying, like, it's going to feel weird at times, but it's a global sanitation we're experiencing. The vaccines are still being ushered out. Some countries have not even received the vaccine. So if you've even had access to the vaccine, even an option to say no or an option to say yes, you're still like miles, light years away from people who have not even had the chance to even access it. I do want to talk about the spiritual value of the waning crescent moon and why I think it's so important. I think it is, for me, you could see the moon as I, like the new moon, like, what do I want? What do I want? And I think as we approach the new moon, it's like, what do I want? And then you come to the full moon, it's like, what do we want? And I think this is something I'm not going to add or talk about. But yeah, I do think that I see a lot of like people not feeling validated here just because Mercury and Leo is just like, you want validation, but you don't get enough. And I think here it's going to be like, if Mercury's in Leo and it's on Regulus, then you know. And we're in Mars and Virgo, you know that. And we're in a Neptune retrograde, you know that something's up. And then you have Pluto in 29th degree in retrograde. That's definitely high compassion to let things unfold into their natural order, but realizing that here we are going into the more unseen territory. And as we go into the unseen territory towards the new moon, coming into a larger independence, it is like that clairsentient feeling of, I don't really feel like this relationship is working out, or this person is who I thought they were. And I feel like when you realize the potentiality of the earth and where it's headed, you realize how you need to avoid drama. Mercury being here in Leo as we approach Leo season in the next 2 weeks. What do you want to avoid being in Leo season? High drama, high reaction. And so I feel like as a collective, we're going into a phase of like, people are realizing, okay, we seriously have to reduce the drama right now. So by the time we get into Leo season, we don't feel sad about not calling the shots earlier on a person that set us up into a Regulus state and it was bad. And that's why you have to be careful with Regulus, is because if you're with someone and you're not on the same wavelength and you're not on the same vibration and it keeps happening and there's no ownership or no kind of understanding of a boundary, I think the no understanding of a boundary is the Neptune retrograde in the unseen, and you feeling the etheric energy of relationships that are just not going to work. And I think it's not bad. It's like, how do we do the reduction process as we come into the new moon? I think when we get into the new moon, by that time, the universe has already lined you up to be more serious. And that's when you have to be like, okay, we're already being ushered in to Sirius, the constellation, being in Cancer, the star, Sirius, the star being in the Cancer constellation, what that means, how it feels. It may feel cloudy with Neptune in retrograde. Oh, should I say this? Should I not say this? Is this bad that I even feel like this is a direction? I feel like the doubt is going to come in because of Neptune in retrograde, but then Mercury in Leo just doesn't have time and it's going to move forward. And that's why when I say Mercury's in Leo and I say things must be going bad, I'm serious, because I feel like in my soul that if we're in jovial Leo, then you know there's a contrast. And with Pluto being in Capricorn in the 29, be careful of extremes of any kind. And I think it's really rational to go in and move on that wavelength. Like Mercury and Leo is the wavelength, because Mercury is in the middle. It's like not like Uranus, and it's not too much Jupiter. Like too much Jupiter is overspending, over glamming, over dramatizing everything. Too much Uranus is, I want freedom at all costs, and you become the rebellion to your own life, and that's really bad. And I feel like with the astrology here, Mercury in Leo is the best, because I think it's like confident, dignified, fixed, and working with Regulus to bring higher clarity. And I think it's important to realize, why does it feel weird that everything is just almost so easy to know? Because it's in Neptune retrograde, and being in Pisces, it's so much compassion. So I think with the compassion, instead of feeling fearful about everything, I think it's important to be like, the right people in your right life. The wrong people will not be in your life after the new moon, because it's going to be the intensity of the universe being like, this is not in your vibration, this is not good for your Regulus. You need to be more serious about who you are and what you want in the eyes, the deep eyes. Who are you in the deep eye, and how can we get to the we of the full moon? And who do you want to be we, and who do you look up to, and who's on your vibration? We have a full moon in Aquarius on the 1st of August. It's the first day of August. The full moon in Aquarius. That to me is signifying that this is the ushering into more independence. This part of the summer is being like, I do need to take more confident, practical leaps with the Mars and Virgo to make more standardized living arrangements for myself. Like, what is the standard? The universe has it aligned because it's a new moon in Cancer. There's enough here to work with. There's enough energy to align. It's the organization here that the universe rewards, and then it's you get inspired by Neptune because it's an opposition. And with Saturn being in the same sign as Neptune in Pisces, it is important to realize you will have to be independent because you cannot get inspiration from people who are not on your vibration. It's not going to work. You're just going to get really discouraged. You're going to get in a rut. You're going to be brought back into moments you don't want to be brought back into. And you have to realize with Mars and Virgo, the clarity is already here. You know, it's how can we be patient with Saturn? Because Saturn is not going to let that story happen. Saturn is not going to let you go off and be weirdly addicted to something you do not need. Saturn here is going to be like, yes, people have been, we've been privileged to have Neptune and Pisces, but yes, people have been riding the Neptune and Pisces wave too high. Gluttonous. People have been gluttonous with Neptune and Pisces. They've been taking from Neptune. Let me just rob from Neptune. Let me take all the inspiration and use it for the wrong thing. And that's what's happening. Like, you can be inspired, but you definitely see a polarization with Saturn here saying we cannot go so far. We cannot go so far into Neptune. Because if we go so far, there's consequences. There's exposure. And that's the thing, is Neptune is icy. It's clear. The precipitation on there is an ice storm, very similar to Uranus. And it's like you will be exposed here with the Neptune in a retrograde. I wouldn't go into waters that you do not know about. It's not even the depth. It's not even being like, I'm so deep. It's like, you don't know what the fuck is in that water, dude. And I think that that's where the clairsentience comes in, and people should tune into intuition more, because I feel like that's the balancing of like not going too far into Neptune. You can get inspired, but I think it's really important to realize Saturn is a friend. Like, it is good to use Saturn. It is good to realize there are lessons. There is karma, but there's karmic lessons. And when you've wrapped them up and somebody's mirroring a karmic lesson that they didn't wrap up, that's a clear indication that you're not in the same vibration. And that's something in this life you can choose. Do I want to help this person, or do I feel like this person needs to figure it out on their own? And that's what I feel like coming into the new moon in Sirius is like, I feel like you're going to be like, do I want to help this person, or do I feel like they learned their karmic lesson? You already know the answer with Mercury and Leo. You already know. It's like, the Regulus knows the answer. It's the gut. It already knows. It's too confident. I would not doubt the Mercury and Leo. I would not doubt it. I would say you almost need to validate what you know by journaling and realizing that it is opposing Hygeia. It is saying there is something happening with global warming and all of that, and that's big enough for you to take a step back and observe. I think it's like adding to the people who are adding to the drama of your life are not observing enough what already is dramatic. And I think that's when you have to go into cord cutting. That is when you have to go into higher spiritual alignment, because there's already enough drama. If somebody's bringing stress into your life, if somebody's saying false things about you, if somebody's creating a story that's not true, if somebody has a vibration That's not in alignment. They're in a different karmic story, different karmic lesson. Literally, lifetimes away from your spiritual development. You need to learn how to respectfully move on from that person. And that's why I'm so adamant of being like, Mercury Leo is really good here. And that's why I have to say, like, do not, if it's already dramatic, remove yourself from the situation, cool down, journal, and then learn how to move on. Because I think trying to get what you want from this person with Mars and Virgo is not going to work. People go straight into Neptune. They don't want to work through it. Toxic people never want to work through things. They constantly want to add more Wands energy. And you have to be like, be real. Is this jealousy? Is this false accusation? Like, what's going on here? Is somebody misusing my words, putting spells? Like, this is the kind of energy. Mercury opposed Hygeia. Is somebody misusing my energy? And be like, okay, that's a part of life, but with the new moon in Sirius, I wouldn't underestimate the power of the Cancer constellation. It is very serious. And with the Five of Diamonds, I do think it's going to be about getting rid of relationships that are false, things that are based on money, things that are based on false things, because it's not gonna last. It's a reconciliation card with yourself. The part of yourself that knows. It's the part that knows, but the part that might be a bit in a different spot from everyone, but it's the phase of the moon. It's something everybody on this earth has to face. Everybody on earth has to face being so into their work, so devoted that it does feel isolating. But that's life. It doesn't matter, because by the time the full moon comes, it's a celebration of all the hard work you put in. So that's how I feel. People are being ushered into a higher work mode where they feel isolated at moments. And in that work mode, they have to realize that this is not only rewarding for who I am, my ancestors, my heritage, but this is also rewarding. That's like very big, but also this is rewarding for by the time we get to the full moon in Aquarius, that I have something to look back at and something to feel like I've inspired the world with. Like, I didn't use the Neptune, especially coming up to Leo season, that Neptune and Pisces and Leo could create unneeded drama. And this is why I'm saying that's why we have Cancer, to wrap up those negative relationships and come into a higher state with our relationships and visualize better things. Because if you think that this relationship is not good for you, I don't think you should stay in. I'm talking about more with like friendships and things. Just, I think it's okay to take a break from certain people. If you're feeling this card on a relationship level, if you're feeling this card on a work level, yes, sometimes in life you are isolated in work. And if you're feeling this card on a love level, well, don't make the relationship all about money. Okay, guys, hope to see you tune in tomorrow for the July 15th reading with Underwater Astrology. If you want to book an astrology session, just go on my About page and you can email me there. Also, like and subscribe if you liked the video. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.